Welcome back, folks. We've got a timely pop culture deep dive for you that takes us behind the headlines you might have seen lately out of Florida.
Employees are expected to walk off the job today over Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay bill.
Disney is suspending all political donations in Florida due to this bill. In a statement, Disney CEO Bob Chapek apologized to colleagues and the LGBTQ community, saying, quote, "You needed me to be a stronger ally in the fight for equal rights."
Disney faced a wave of backlash after donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to backers of the bill in Florida, a state where the company dominates in political power. Notably, much of that backlash came from within the company itself. Employees held a walkout and organized open letters to CEO Bob Chapek, and many prominent staffers have been vocal on social media fundraising for LGBTQ supporting charities. These developments signal a significant shift in how Disney gets involved in politics and social issues, and that's a pretty big deal considering its long and complicated relationship with the LGBTQ community in particular. To understand that relationship more, we're going to take a Disney deep dive with the latest installment of Pop Quiz. And who better to take us on this journey than entertainment correspondent and ITL bestie, Casey Mendoza. Casey, what's going on?
Hi, Christian. It is good to be back for such a twisty story like this one. But first, do you have a favorite Disney character?
I'm thinking of a movie right now that I used to watch all the time as a kid, arguably one of the best sequels in Disney history, The Rescuers Down Under.
Welcome to Australia, man. My name's Jake.
I used to think that Jake was the absolute coolest. He had this like Crocodile Dundee vibe. He could do it all. It's between him or the albatross played by John Candy. It's one of those two.
Those are great choices, and The Rescuers Down Under is such a good Disney deep cut, which is always fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can you name your favorite LGBTQ plus Disney character?
Ooh, that's a little harder. I don't have an answer for this.
Hey, that's a tricky question, right? Because you can't assume a fictional character's sexuality necessarily, which leads me to my last question. Can you tell me who the first openly gay Disney character was?
I most certainly. If I couldn't answer the last one, there's no way I'm going to be able to answer this one. I have no idea.
So that was a trick question, because it seems like Disney isn't really sure either. There have actually been 8 characters that were announced as a first 8 as the first openly gay characters to varying degrees, and each got a lot of press attention. These first gay characters reflect something contradictory about Disney's LGBTQ legacy. You know, on the one hand, these characters were so groundbreaking, they stirred up lots of headlines and controversy, yet they seem pretty minor, you know, especially considering you couldn't name a single one. So what's the deeper story here? Our question today is, why does Disney have so many first gay characters? We're going to explore the complicated relationship between Disney and the LGBTQ community, and it's going to take us from Chinese censorship boards to queer-coded lions to the political showdown happening right now in the Florida State Senate.
I think I know where this is going. I pretty much have an idea, but run that back for me. What was it you said about the queer-coded lions?
We'll get there, but you know, let's start with the characters themselves. The 8 characters I mentioned range from minor characters to just figures in the background. Some have just 1 or 2 lines.
It's not easy being a new parent. My girlfriend's daughter got me pulling my hair out, okay?
Oh. Characters that explicitly identify their sexuality or are seen with a same-sex partner are typically blink and you'll miss it moments. Many online have theorized this is because it makes it easier to edit them out for overseas movie markets. Russia, for example, did change this line in Onward to "my partner." And yes, this brief Star Wars kiss was edited out of the film for Singapore. But this theory seems a little shaky, since the edits haven't been consistent. The Star Wars kiss stayed in for China, and despite demands from the Malaysian government, Disney refused to edit out the same-sex dance moment at the end of Beauty and the Beast. The country ended up allowing the film to play unedited.
the Malaysian government backed down from Disney?
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast was a huge moneymaker. So strict censorship boards abroad may definitely be a factor, especially in China, which is expected to overtake the US as the largest film market in the world. But that theory is also a bit of an incomplete picture. So in order to fully understand the first gay characters, we need to hit rewind on movie history. From the 1930s up until 1970, the Motion Picture Production Code, or the Hays Code, prohibited any explicit depictions of homosexuality. This led to a rise in queer-coded characters, where the subtext implies a character may be queer.
And so you had to leave broad clues to try and indicate that, because you were not allowed to say it out loud. That various people start learning how to read the clues. But the problem is, once you train an audience to read clues, they may find clues that were not intended by the makers.
And there's quite a bit of agreement when it comes to how Disney's villains are coded.
There's one in every family, sir. Two in mine, actually.
One can read the villains being queer-coded as being presenting a negative or a bad image, or evil. And I don't want to try and argue that that's not true, but there are a number of various openly gay or queer people, audiences, that totally love the villainesses, love Maleficent, for example, in Sleeping Beauty. Maleficent is 10 times more interesting than Sleeping Beauty is. And so on a certain level, there is an identification with sort of like, here's the straight couple over here, but yeah, blah, 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 blah. Let's watch the villains. They're actually more interesting.
As Sean explained, leadership at Disney has recognized that there is a dedicated fan base within the LGBTQ community. For the past few decades, the company has worked to appeal to those audiences without upsetting other big audiences, specifically conservative Christian groups. But they've recently been tiptoeing along that line thanks to their stream of first gay characters. Remember that dance scene from Beauty and the Beast? Let me read you part of the boycott statement from the organization 1 Million Moms in Response. Disney has decided to be politically correct versus providing family-friendly entertainment. Disney should stick to entertaining instead of pushing an agenda. Conservative families need to urge Disney to avoid mature and controversial topics. Here's the scene that sparked those boycotts, backlash, and demands for edits in its entirety.
That was it.
That was it.
That was the moment.
Like 1% of a movie, basically. So when we talk about these gay characters, it's easy to poke fun at how subtle they are. But remember how much complicated history is behind moments like this. And now, as audiences and employees are forcing a reckoning with the company's political power, we may see Disney really take on this unique responsibility more as the studio with the strongest brand for children's entertainment.
Being able to be seen, to feel like you're being recognized or acknowledged, is something that has enormous psychological and emotional importance to everybody, regardless. Our introduction to films is often Disney. That means a lot to parents, okay, of like, what are we exposing our children to? But also means a lot to us individually in terms of these are the first movies that we really emotionally attached to, whether you're straight or you're LGBTQ.
One thing's for sure, all eyes are going to be on Disney and how it moves forward from here.
I love this this thing we do, Casey, because truly there are no dumb questions, and this is exactly something that I would want to deep dive on. We thank you so much for that eye-opening context for why this story in Florida and Disney is so important, and I also appreciate that you did not actually quiz me today because of how poorly I did last time, right? So thank you so much, Casey, for your expertise and your reporting, and I'll see you on the next pop quiz.
Of course. Bye. Bye-bye.